Seasons in the NHL with the New Jersey Devils, the Detroit Red Wings, Los Angeles Kings, the Vancouver Canucks. From 87 to 97. He earned a reputation not as a goal scorer, but as a tough guy. He was selected 108th overall in the 86 Entry Draft. He compiled 433 career penalty minutes in 150 NHL games. He was the guy you didn't like to play against. He's recently returned from a tour over in Afghanistan with the NHL alumni, and we'll be speaking about that as well tonight. And our guest speaker's famous combatant was Bob Probert, who many of you may or may not know. You'll recognize him. And I can go on and on about who Troy talked to on the ice, but I think it's easier if we run a video to show you guys. So after the video, I'm going to call upon our guest speaker, Mr. Troy Crowder. A word to the warning, don't fall asleep during your speech. He will find you. Please welcome Troy Crowder.
Yeah, that was definitely more known for my fighting than my goal scoring. I want to thank the committee from OFSAA for having me here to speak to you guys. I want to actually say to you guys, I'm proud of you getting to this level. Being a professional hockey player, you realize the dedication and commitment that it takes both from your parents and from you guys to get to this level, and cherish it because it goes by very quickly, and stay focused on the job at hand, which is playing hockey here for the weekend. I've had an interesting career, unlike a lot of hockey players. I played with a guy here as well, very similar, Nick Kyprios. You guys probably see him on TV, but Nick scored 72 goals his third year in junior hockey for the North Bay Centennials. 72 goals in one season. That's almost a goal a game, and made a career as a fighter in the NHL because they said he had to play tougher. I was a little different. I didn't score 72 in the NHL, but I was a top goal scorer on my midget hockey team, and when it came to junior, I didn't have the speed that it required to keep up to the game to play at that level, so I did what was, I guess, second nature, is take whatever role they gave me, and that was the scrapper for the team. It's funny, when you have dreams and you're a kid, you never think they're going to turn out, but when I was a little guy, you know, I used to watch Hockey Night in Canada and, you know, see the Dennis Savard spinorama and all these moves, and go down to the outdoor rink and practice them over and over, and dreamed of one day playing in the NHL. And when I was roughly the same age, my dad used to be a big Muhammad Ali boxing fan. And back in the day, they used to put a production on for about an hour before he would fight, showing all of his other fights and all of his speeches and all of his little shows he would do. And I watched him when I was about 10 years old. I'm like, that's the coolest guy I've ever seen. He's like, he is unbelievable. I said, I'd like to be like him one day. And when I was 12 years old, I asked for a speed bag. Put it in my dad's shed, and I whacked that thing all the time, and I'd shoot pucks and then hit the speed bag. And so little did I know that those two things would go hand in hand 15 years later as a hockey player. But you know, hockey's been an unbelievable life experience for me, and I try to tell parents that I coach the little kids right now is that, you know, they all get worried about their kids making the NHL and what's going to happen to them. And I said, really, hockey is the best life lesson that you could possibly have. You guys are going through high school right now and you're learning from your teachers and your guidance counselors, but hockey teaches you dedication, commitment, perseverance, teaches you how to deal with maybe some personalities that aren't quite your same on your team, and you have to kind of just adapt and go with it. I mean, I had to play with Claude Lemieux, I know all about that. But, I mean, right now, Steve Walkham, who at high school age decided, you know what, maybe his hockey career wasn't going to go as far as he wanted, got into refereeing. Now he's the refereeing chief for the NHL, right here from North Bay. You got other guys that I grew up with now that work for Hockey Canada that stopped playing at midget in high school, there's avenues in hockey that will take you everywhere, and they come with the hard work and the dedication that you learn from this sport, and actual what it takes to be a teammate. Because it doesn't matter what company or what organization or what level in hockey, people appreciate that. This is New Jersey's American League team, and so I went there. And now, coming in as a 19-year-old, I wasn't sure what kind of role or what I was going to have to do, but the coach let me know quite early that they wanted to see what I was able to do. So, not scoring more than 15, 20 goals in a season, I figured, well, I better do what I know I'm good at. And so, I think I fought 7 times in the first 4 games that I played there. And meanwhile, our season ended there, and that was the end of the season, and now I'm in Utica, and I'm having a couple beer after the game and celebrating the fact that, our season's over, and I only got 50 stitches on my face. And we're watching the New Jersey Devils play their final game of the season, and John McLean scores a goal with about 20 seconds to go to send New Jersey into the first time they've ever made the playoffs in the history of the franchise. So we're all excited and happy and whatever else, and next day I'm packing up my stuff to get ready to drive back home, and I get a phone call again, and you're getting called up to the NHL now. So then I drive my car from Utica, New York up to New Jersey, and I arrive there, and they said, well, you're probably not going to play in the first round, but you're going to practice with the team, and not in the second round, but you're going to practice with the team. And the third round comes around, and all of a sudden, yeah, you're playing tonight. I'm like, this is the Stanley Cup semifinals. I'm just turned 20 like 2 days earlier. This is going to be my first hockey game in the NHL. So we're in New Jersey, and it's a packed arena. First time they made the playoffs, the fans are absolutely crazy. There's 20,000 people. And so anyways, I happened to have a coach that wanted to see what I could do. So he played me on the power play, on the penalty kill, and as well, I had a couple fights that game. And it was an unbelievable first experience. I think there was about 40 seconds left in the game when I had my last fight. Some guy kind of taunted me, and I cross-checked him as I was going off the ice. And meanwhile, they'd lined up their 5 toughest guys on the ice after that. And my coach said, well, you started this, you better get back out there. So I went out there and had a fight. And as I'm skating off, because I'm now kicked out of the game with 40 seconds to go, and Terry O'Reilly was the coach, and he was just screaming at me. He's got 1 foot up on the bench, and he's just, I'm going to send everybody after you. And I started blowing him kisses. Like this, and he's losing his mind. Next thing you know, he's standing up on the bench, and he's screaming, I'm going to kill you. I'll send everybody after you. And so I skate off the ice. I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool for my first game. All this happened, And so I'm standing there in the hallway, and I'm going to watch the last 40 seconds of the game, and it ends, and then there's a big ruckus going on, and I'm standing in the hallway, and all of a sudden the referees come off, and then I see my coach come flying off the ice, Jim Schoenfeld, and he's screaming at the referee and screaming at the referee. The ref turns around, stands there, and my coach kind of bumps him a little bit, and he goes sliding across the concrete and hits the ground, and he starts screaming. He says, you fat pig, have another donut, and he's cursing out the referee. And so I'm like, oh, geez, this is unbelievable. This hockey up there is pretty cool. And so I go to the dressing room afterwards, and next thing you know, there's a ruckus going on, and then the NHL referees, they won't referee the next game. And so anyways, I don't play the next game, and I'm sitting there, and they're pulling the timekeepers and putting our practice jerseys on them to actually go out there and referee our last game. And we lost that game, and that was the end of our playoffs. And I'm sitting around having a beer with the guys again after the thing, and I'm going, geez, honest to God, over a 3-week period of time, I went from playing in the OHL to playing the American Hockey League to playing, in the NHL, and a month later having my first game, in the Stanley Cup semifinals. So things can happen in your life unbelievably fast, and so you really got to cherish the time you guys are having right now, because you don't get these opportunities that often. But again, stay focused on what the task is, and battle as a team, boy. Battle to the very bitter end, because you never know what's going to happen. They say, the worst lead in hockey is a 2-goal lead. Well, there's a lot of other things that can go wrong too. So stick it out, battle it out, and be proud of what you guys have accomplished. And have a great weekend. And congratulations, you guys.